All right, guys. So I guess I'll begin by what I see a lot, and it's problematic. It's what I call the uh, middle ground fallacy, or sometimes I'll refer to it as an equality fallacy. Um, we in general have a tendency to believe that whether you're on the right or on the left, it's sort of arbitrary. It's just personal preference. It's just opinions. It's not, and it's very important that people get this through their head. So, for one, there's a lot of research to show the link between intrinsic personality and political lean. And the link is not minor, it's not something that can just be chalked up to coincidence. As I've stated recently, we're at a point where you can give someone with absolutely no knowledge about them whatsoever a Big Five personality test and find out with unbelievable accuracy exactly where they fall on the political spectrum. What this means, the important takeaway from that, is that it is not arbitrary. It tells you something about who they are and how they're wired. It's important. It's in some ways their identity. So, we also have a tendency, because of this belief that things are arbitrary, and it gets a little complicated, but because of this belief, people see it as like, oh, it's just the left, the right. And some people will go so far as to be like, they're all evil. Even I do to a certain extent, like at least Democrat versus Republican actual like leaders in general, like people in Congress, for example. But so what people do is they go a lot like if someone lies, a lie's a lie. And that is illogical. That's the wrong way to view things. It is true that almost all politicians lie. Absolutely. But like we can put that down like we don't need to argue about it in debate because we're kind of wasting time. We already agree on that, right? So you don't just end there and go, okay, all politicians are shit. Fuck it, blah blah blah. Like you have to analyze shit. You have to look further. A lie is not a lie. If I tell um a family member that they don't look terrible in a dress when I actually think they look terrible, that is what most people would consider a white lie. It's a lie intended to protect their feelings or to not cause more trouble than it's worth. If someone lies to cover up like massive corruption, that has a whole lot more implications. That tells you more about the person. So a lie is not a lie. Let's get that out of the way first. So you have to, there's certain things you have to dig through. So, one, frequency of lies. As I've already claimed, and I can back it up like insane easily, no politician in recent history, maybe ever that I can think of, lies like Donald J. Trump lies. That's all he does. That matters. If someone lies that constantly, that much, and you can factually check that they're lies, it's not like ambiguous. It's not like, well, he may have been lying. No, it's like obvious as fuck. And if you live in reality, you want to know what is true. If you find that a person constantly lies, the logical thing to do is to be skeptical about everything they say. Like, period. Why would you ever trust something that someone says when they have factually been checked to lie more than anyone, at least politically? Like that's common sense. I shouldn't need to explain it. I would apply this exact same standard to the left. It's not about like tribalism. It's about common fucking sense. It's using your brain. So some people will do this thing where they go, where was I going with that? Oh, they'll like almost laugh it off. Like a couple of people did this whenever I posted. I didn't make a video on it, but I actually posted in the comments a list of Donald Trump's lies up until that point, and people were laughing about it. And I'm like, why is that funny to you? Like, I'm trying to understand from their perspective. Do they think it's a conspiracy? Like all of this is made up? Because you can actually go into each of them and find sources to find out exactly why we know factually through observable external evidence. And when I say external evidence, I mean it's not dependent, it's not subjective, it's not dependent on someone's perception. It's externally verified, meaning it's objective fact that they're lies, right? So there's a couple of possibilities. One, they don't care what is true. They're so tribal, I guess, as one potential possibility that they don't care. It's all about like, hey, I'm part of this group. I don't care if they lie constantly because truth doesn't matter to me, right? There's other possibilities, but I'm not going to jump into it. I'm kind of going all over the place anyway. So there's the frequency matters, and then there's extremity, the seriousness of the lie. Like many of the things that Donald Trump lies about has a ton of gravity behind them. They're they're like damning, for example, like damning fucking uh accusations against political rivals. And they're just completely made up, like the or not even political rivals, but like uh groups of people, for example, that he's has political reasons to target, right? Like the they're eating cats and dogs lie that's been debunked straight to fucking hell at this point. It's like it's such a lie that it's it's hilarious. Not to mention what we called the big lie that Donald Trump actually won the election, the previous election, like because of all of the evidence that was found. Like not only did he lose, but we found out that it was actually yes, there were some mistakes, but the mistakes were on the other end. He actually lost by more than what actually we thought. So it's hilarious. So okay, going too much into shit here to lead up to. So what matters is frequency and extremity here, or the extent of the lies, the how far they are removed from reality. It matters. It's something that people should gauge. You don't just go a lie's a lie. That's bullshit. That's not how you think critically. So I've got an article from Mother Jones, one of the few actual news sources that actually fucking care about what is true. It's rare these days. But let me share the screen here. All right. Why Republicans lie more than Democrats. This is Donald Trump at a press conference in Washington, D.C. on September 16, 2016, where he discussed the birther conspiracy theory about then President Barack Obama and prompted the New York Times to use the word lie in covering him. So he's, of course, being used as an example of this because he's the best example over and over and over, going back even before his times as like running for office, but just in his like candidacies and his fucking races, are insane amounts of examples of him just making shit up. And that matters. Why do people act like that's not important? It matters. It means you can't trust anything he fucking says. It means that he's corrupt. It means that he just makes bullshit up to serve his own ends, which means he's a piece of shit, which means you should not fucking like him. Like, really simple shit here. All right. In 2012, Bill Adair, the founder of the Pulitzer Prize-winning website PolitiFact, was on C-SPAN, and a caller on the Democratic line posed a simple question. Now, I'm going to pause here because I actually had a sort of spat recently about PolitiFact. PolitiFact is not biased. If you believe they're biased, you live in like a right-wing echo chamber, and you're incapable of viewing reality as it is. You gauge what is real based on your personal beliefs, not based on external evidence. It's based on your feelings, in other words. And this is one problem we have with right-wing people. They gauge reality with their feels. It's funny because Ben Shapiro always does this thing like he's famous for it. Facts don't care about your feelings. Yet right-wingers are objectively the people who do this the most. It's ironic as fuck. It's hilarious in a way. It's like they're incapable of seeing it, that they're projecting. Anyhow, so PolitiFact, Pulitzer Prize winning, like their ability to remain unbiased is like unbelievable. There is no left-wing spin. In fact, I'm about to read it. Actually, I just will go ahead and read it. He read that PolitiFact had granted more, quote, false ratings to Republicans than Democrats. Isn't that true? He asked. Adair replied, I can honestly say I do not keep score. As Adair now concedes, I was lying. PolitiFact did keep score, and the pattern was that Republicans lied more. A lot more. Now, this goes back into what I said before. We have this equality fallacy or middle ground fallacy that both sides will lie equally. That's not true. You do not live in reality. Both sides are not exactly the same just on polar differences. Like, that's stupid. One side factually, objectively lies a lot more than the other one. And that should tell you who they are. It should tell you that they don't actually have any serious values. Anyway, I'll continue. Adair recounts this moment in his new book, Beyond the Big Lie, The Epidemic of Political Lying, Why Republicans Do It More, and How It Could Burn Down Our Democracy. As you can tell from the subtitle, Adair is no longer reluctant to state plainly that the GOP is way ahead of the Dems when it comes to lying. A longtime reporter for the St. Petersburg Times, Adair founded PolitiFact in 2007. He stepped down as its editor in 2013 to become Knight Professor of the Practice of Journalism and Public Policy at Duke University and has remained an important voice on assorted media matters. His book presents compelling tales of the ongoing war on truth, including a profile of a January 6 rioter who believed Donald Trump's big lie about the 2020 election and an account of a Republican assault on an admirable Biden administration effort to counter disinformation. Yes, conservatives objected to an attempt to combat the dissemination of falsehoods, apparently believing misinformation too often overlaps with Republican talking points and assertions. Let's take a moment to stop here. Yes, this is important. Conservatives were angry that attempts were being made at rooting out bullshit. Why? Because Republicans lie so much it hurts their agenda, and they know it. They're not all like complete idiots that have drunk the Kool-Aid and think that it's fucking all legit. They know they're lying. Most of them, anyhow. Continuing, the book is an important and readable contribution to the debate on what's happening to truth in the media these days. Adair eschews both sidesism and demonstrates and demonstrates that Republicans have adopted lying as a fundamental tactic and hurl prevarications far more than Democrats. He explores why and how that has come to be. It's a damning indictment. Last week, Adair spared me some to talk about the book Lying in American Politics and the current state of fact checking in the media ecosystem. I slightly edited our conversation. So I'm not going to read all this, but it's a huge, like, sort of interview with Bill Adair, and he's going into detail about why and how Republicans lie far, far more often than Democrats. Has to be intentional for it to be a lie, and we can't say what's in his head. Like George Costanza in Seinfeld, Jerry, just remember, it's not a lie if you believe it. Journalists were applying that standard to the president, and that's where I thought things broke down. I'm glad you mentioned that because I should note the big role talk radio and Fox News play in providing this echo chamber for the lies. The lies get repeated. As we saw with the Dominion case, Fox lost viewers if they did not repeat the lies about the 2020 election. It's part of the business. So we've created this lie echo chamber, so to speak, and they have a financial incentive to continue these lies because right-wing people in general don't want the truth. They want to feel, what's the word? Vindicated. They want, like, they want to feel as if their views are legitimized, even if it's bullshit that it's based on. They don't care. In general, they don't care. I'm not saying every single right-winger, but in general, this is just the facts. This is what we see every fucking day. They don't get angry when these things are exposed as lies. They just go, "Oh yeah, that's just bullshit." Or even when it comes to the point where they can't even, like, use mental gymnastics anymore, they just shrug and they forget about it. It's not important. It doesn't matter to them. And this should tell you all you need to know about the morality of the side that claims it's all about, quote, family values. Yet so many of their politicians have been, like, fucking so many scandals about fucking one, they have multiple, like 5, 6 different wives. They've been caught cheating numerous times. Like, they're all fucking liars. They're not who you want them to be, who you think they are, etc. It's all bullshit, especially on the right. So the reason why I say this is not to defend Democrats. I'm not a Democrat. I don't defend Democrats. I point it out because it's factually true, because the truth fucking matters. They lie less. They actually give a fuck more than the Republicans do. Republicans are, I call I I call Democrats Republicans alike. The reason why is because Republicans essentially, at least in office is what I mean, not everyday people, they tell you what you want to hear. They bullshit things and fearmonger to, like, appeal to your fears. They keep you locked in that way. They kind of use you as a revenue source, and I can't remember exactly where I was going with that. Brain's all over the place today. But they've created this system where it's all bullshit. No one cares about truth, and it's sad because it means you can't take conservatives seriously in general as a whole. Like, they're all emotional. They think with their heart, so to speak. They think with their own interests. They're selfish. They don't give a shit about what is true or what is best for most people. And that's sad. It's like, I don't know where to go from here. If there's even any turning back. I don't know. Like, Donald Trump has destroyed the right to such an extent and, like, made it to where truth means nothing anymore. Like, he's lied so much and to such an extent that it's like is there any repairing the right? Because I said once and I meant it, it's necessary. I think that we should have all sorts of parties, not a two-party system. But if you only have a two-party system, it's important that both of them are uh, trustworthy and function properly as they're supposed to. Because if not, then there's no counterbalance. If we had all hardcore left-wing news, it would be terrible. I'm on the left, and I just have to say it because you need different points of view. It's important. So, no matter where you go, you need a right wing. We just don't need a lying bullshit right wing that caters to millionaires and that's all they really care about. It's all a business to them. That's all they care about. That's it. They're not the party of the working class. They're the party that has done nothing for the working class over and over and over again. They give you lip service, but don't listen to what politicians say. Look at their actions. Go back, look through. Actually, I we can hold this shit up. I'll wait. You can pause this shit. Go back and verify factually what Donald Trump has done for working class people. Zero. Nothing. Nothing. He's claimed to have done shit. He says he's going to do shit. He's hilariously stated numerous times, I have a the beginnings of a plan or something, some shit like that. Like it's become a meme because he never has any fucking clue what he's doing. He don't plan anything. He's a toddler that just gets emotional and thinks he's a god and fucking just randomly jumps on shit thinking he knows the most in the room when he's usually the most ignorant. He's useless. He's an idiot. And so damn, I lost where I was going to go where I was going with that one too. I think it's the way that fact checks are being produced and where they're published. Crazy Uncle Bob, who is sitting home watching Fox News and listening to talk radio, is not going to factcheck.org or PolitiFact websites. We need to figure out ways to get facts to people who are not getting them. Part of it is a distribution problem. We need to get conservative media organizations to do more fact checking and to realize that fact checking is a valuable form of journalism. Now the right-wing media has decided to attack it, and you have relatively few conservative media that are producing fact checks. We need to rethink all of this. In my opinion, I've already covered it. I agree with what you're seeing and that it's a problem, but I think you don't go deep enough. Yes, it's all about like money in the end, I believe, when it comes to like the right, like Fox News type places, and they just constantly push bullshit that's not true. Oftentimes just completely fabricated, like not even based on truth, like all bullshit. So, yes, they do it for money to an extent, but also they are to an extent because they look to make more money, they are a reflection of their base. I know a lot of people don't want to hear this. Conservatives do not care about truth to the same extent that the people on the left care about truth. They're feelings based. They don't give a fuck about what's true. They're tribal. They're selfish. They like whether or not something is legitimate, factual, objective, valid is not as important as whether or not it confirms their beliefs. That's simply it's right in front of you. It's obvious. Like not saying it is almost it's almost a lie by admission in itself because it's so fucking obvious. I don't want to be more pessimistic than is called for at this time about politics and the media, but I wonder if there's a larger issue of whether enough people care about facts and care about the truth. Well, he's starting to go into what I was saying. During the presidential debate, when tens of millions of people are watching, Donald Trump says migrants are eating cats and dogs, and he is immediately called out by the moderator who says this is not true. Yet it doesn't seem to matter. A lot of social science research has shown us that it's hard to counter lies. When people hear something, it creates an impression. And if you come along and say, here's why it's not true, that second hit might actually reinforce that first impression. Also, people are highly skeptical of information that they don't want to hear, and they're highly accepting of information that confirms their own biases and their own views of the world. Moreover, getting facts in front of people is increasingly difficult given the fragmentation of the media ecosystem. Your Uncle Bob, as you mentioned, doesn't go to PolitiFact or factcheck.org, but he's also not reading the Washington Post or the New York Times, maybe no newspaper at all. In our era of media fragmentation, what happens when people just don't want to know? Anyway, this is it goes on, and I will provide a link to it. But this is a really important thing. This is not about me. Like, sometimes I'll post shit because I honestly I think it's funny to give conservatives a hard time and to talk shit, so to speak. I do it. But that's not all I do. It's important to note. I don't just like throw out insults and that's it. I always back, like, I'll provide factual shit. I'll give you objective data, and then I will talk shit. That is night and day different than having no premises, no logical premises at all, and just focusing on banter. That's a waste of everybody's time. I will never make a video and just like be like, huh, conservatives, huh, fucking idiots, am I right? Never, never. I will say that, but I do it after explaining in detail why that is the case, using objective fucking data. It's very important that people understand the difference between those and why it's not the same thing. So the implications here. What are the implications that the right don't care as much about truth? Well, we're already seeing it. Trump is actively demolishing democracy, especially freedom of the press and freedom of speech, which ironically the right always claim to care so much about. It's hilarious. He's making it to where you can get locked up or have your like government, what's the word, like educational benefits or whatever, if it comes from the government, revoked if, for example, you state that you're not okay with the genocide in fucking Gaza, for example. And by the way, Trump doesn't actually even give a fuck. Like, not ideologically, he doesn't give a shit about Israel. He only says this because he's paid off through AIPAC, just like so many other politicians, and he's in their pocket. And so he's a corrupt piece of shit. And he says, you know what? You pay me, and I'll have it to where people aren't allowed to, even to like legally, or at least what used to be legally, they're not allowed to protest, which is highly against the fucking Constitution. They're just not allowed to anymore. He's also taking steps, and has been for a while now, to make it to where you're not even allowed to say anything that goes against what he says. Now, the only time people do that is when they have shit to hide. When Trump like he did on the ABC News interview recently, when he keeps like denigrating the interviewer and like targeting him and basically like low key threatening him. The only time people do that is when they have shit to hide. And like Trump he'll say like, "Oh, this is why nobody believes the news anymore." And it's projection. No one believes you, Donald Trump, because you lie constantly. Everything you say almost is a fucking lie. It's like it would be easier to find things that Donald Trump has said. No, I mean, it would be a shorter list to find things that Donald Trump has said that is true, because he lies so often. And that matters It means that he's hiding shit, which should make you go, why is he hiding shit? Because he's a corrupt motherfucker that only cares about himself. He's a narcissist. He's probably a sociopath as well. He doesn't give a fuck about anyone but himself. And that makes him dangerous to everyone else. Even if you think he's on your side, he's not on your side. He does not give a fuck about you. You're a random nobody. He cares about himself, his rich buddies, and his own fucking pocket. That's it. So I'm interested to see how things go here, at least in any comments that are made, if there are any. So I'll tell you the typical. Conservative people will use mental gymnastics to try to explain how I am projecting, even though I've provided evidence for every claim I've made, right? Yet they won't specifically mention anything. And the reason why is because they know they're lying. They know that they've lost. They know that they're on the wrong side. They know this. Even if it's subconscious, they know it. And you can tell that by how they construct their criticism, right? They won't focus on specific things that I've said or this article has went over that aren't true, because that's what you do whenever you have a disagree or a logical issue with premises, right? You find the specific premises that are incorrect and you factually support it with evidence to show that that was bullshit, right? That's what you do because you actually know what you're talking about or you actually give a shit about what is true. Instead, what tends to happen, at least on the right, is they'll focus on like pivots in a way. Like they'll try to discredit you by using ad hominems, which are character attacks. Like they'll say, "Oh yeah, you think that you know what you're talking about? You live in a trailer, blah." Like that's irrelevant. No one cares about that. Like you're pivoting, which means you know you've lost. That means you're an idiot, and you don't even realize you're an idiot, which is the funny part. So they'll do that. They usually almost always just go to character attacks because they have no ammunition because they're logically premature, if you will. They're logically handicapped, impaired, if you will. And it shows in their every interaction. They can never actually make logical cases because they don't use logic. They're emotional people. They use intuition, which means they're always wrong. They believe in conspiracy theories and fucking anti-vax shit. They believe fucking the moon landing was a hoax. They believe all sorts of crazy shit that has absolutely no evidence to back it because they're fucking not serious people. So, like I said, I'm interested in what will happen and if it will just be a confirmation of what I've claimed. And if they do what I claim they would or have done, then I want to get something out of the way right now. That is not because I'm a prophet. I cannot see the future. It's because they're predictable. It's because they're stupid. It's because that's all they know. It's because again, they're not serious. They get angry because I'm destroying the narrative of their bullshit side, the side of lies. And because they can't counter me with any sort of actual factual shit because they know they would lose because they have nothing to stand on because again both sides don't lie equally and one side actually cares a whole lot more about what is true. They're just going to jump to fucking like personal attacks and mental gymnastics to try to defend themselves without actually addressing any of the premises. And that, my friends, is why we always win. Even if they're unaware of it, even if their subconscious or their ego is protecting itself so they have defense mechanisms to where they can't see it, that's fine as long as we know. And I use the word know on purpose because it's not perception based, it's not subjective. You can find the evidence for these victories logically. over and over and over again. We factually win almost always. And they don't like that. It makes them angry. And so, because you can't reach them logically, at least in my opinion, many would disagree with me on this, and that's fine. I think the best thing we can do is just have fun with them because you can't take them seriously because they don't care about truth or logic. If they don't care about truth or logic, then the best that you can't reach them, not with those things. And because you can't reach them, the best thing you can do is just fucking manipulate them, play with their minds because they're like fucking silly putty. They have like the fucking IQ of grapefruit. Have fun with them, toy with them, reel them in. Sometimes you can do it slowly to where you pretend like you know less than you actually do so that they will bite. And then you just completely demolish their ass. And even though they won't ever tell you, they know. And you can tell by how angry they get and how they become obsessed with getting back at you. That's the best thing you can do. I mean, it's not like you should consider them victims because they're evil. Like objectively, they care less about people in general than you do if you're on the left. That makes them by definition more evil. So who gives a fuck? Like if you can't beat them, join them and beat them at their own game because we're better at it than they are because they're stupid. Anyhow, thank you for your time. I've rambled enough today.